Tony, the four boys, they can get it done when it matters most, but I think also we need to look at the series layout for you. Talk to me about what they can lean on here in this best of 5 that's going to get them this dub.
Yeah, the one thing I'm looking at right off the rip is that FaZe want to get this over to a Game 5 in order to get that win, in order for that to be the win condition of taking the series. The problem is right in the middle of that. Stronghold's Recharge and King of the Hill Livefire are heavy favorites with Optic Gaming, so FaZe, you have an uphill battle. You need those first 2 games.
They certainly do indeed. Well, Optic Gaming, they have so much to give out there, and I know Renegade certainly does. My eyes are going straight to this powerhouse. He's unbelievable. I think the key is going to be to shut him down if you're on the other side, because he has been unstoppable so far. And I don't know what happens when you do take Renegade out of the picture, but it can only be good things for the opposition. Speaking of, let's talk about the hometown team. They're dressed in red. They're in their Sunday kit. We'll have to find out if they can dig deep for their fans and do it here in Charlotte. Let's meet FaZe.
Silo just gonna jump out, no scope for the triple kill. Wait, can he do it all? Wait! Lucid! You madman! An overkill!
All right, FaZe fans, you better get loud because it's now or never. They need a bounce back, and they need it badly right now on this stage. Snipe down, when you're looking across them, what do you see? Especially with that series layout, we're looking at some of the things that they can really try to push through here, but there's a couple bumps in that one. Can they get over the humps of this series layout and hopefully pull out the win?
Yeah, one of those first 2 games is crucial for this FaZe roster, absolutely, because Game 3s have been just a kryptonite for them throughout their entire history together. They have a negative win ratio in those Game 3s, and it has caused a lot of those turnarounds. So I do think, I'm with Tony on this, that this likely will need to be a Game 5 Slayer win where they can win on the game types that they're the most confident in. And honestly, I think that is just one game at a time. They got to get one of those Games 3 or Game 4, which are very heavily favored in Optic's direction, to kind of swing the pendulum.
I would love to see every single member of FaZe step up to the mark right now. We saw what happens when it does occur, and that Shopify Rebellion map number 1 on our ball, you saw every single person doing what they needed to do, and it was incredibly competitive. Can they actually push forward with their heads are a little bit low, lift them back up again, and do this in front of the home crowd? We'll have to wait and see. We're going to head on over to our casters for our elimination finals. Schurz, Gaskin, big stuff on the main stage, and our last major of the season is now or never.
Yeah, it's go big or go home. Thank you so much for setting the table. FaZe plan up against Optic Gaming. It's a tale as old as time. The issue is FaZe have typically struggled in this series, Dan.
Typically, and it's always going to be a worry after you've just got a bit of a beat down from Shopify Rebellion. I think that Clutch was saying it backstage. Had this been reversed, if they got the chance to play Optic first, coming off the momentum of yesterday, could this be a little bit different? But now you have to pick your heads up, just as the desk was saying, and it is not an easy task to do against an Optic Gaming roster that is on fire, having another one of their incredible elimination bracket runs.
Mentality is so important and maybe not touched upon enough in esports. When you get beaten down like that, what is your response? Game 1 in that previous series, it was close, it was tight, but they lost it, and the wind almost looked like it was taken from their sails. Now you drop down to Optic Gaming, who have been frying today. FaZe Clan, time to respond right now, or the next time you'll be checking in, it'll be at the airport.
I think what's important for FaZe is just to remember that Optic are beatable. We saw them lose already this tournament. They got knocked into that elimination bracket by Shopify, but also lost in pool play to Mindfreak as well. And no one would have expected that. And FaZe maybe need to take a page out of the Aussies book and say, hey, anything can be done here. Let's not pretend like we're the 3rd best team. I think FaZe have a really good chance in this series. I think the series layout is probably one of the better ones they could have had. It's a bit of a topsy-turvy one. It goes back and forth in terms of statistics. I'm hoping that we get a long best of 5 here.
You're taking pages from the Aussie book. Just remember, it's going to be upside down. Those boys to be awfully down under. And I think, Dan, I think you touched upon it. Optic Gaming's frailties in these tournaments. They don't come through it flawless. and maybe there's an opening there to take something for FaZe Clan.
So this is their series layout I was speaking of. We start with CTF Fortress before we go to Slayer Street, Stronghold's Recharge, King of the Hill Livefire, and Slayer Aquarius. The desk was saying that they feel like 3 and 4 goes in favor of Optic Gaming. I feel like I disagree. I think this is pretty even for Stronghold's Recharge. King of the Livefire maybe going in favor of FaZe Clan as well, but Optic are the informed team, which is definitely something I think they are taking into account. We have to focus on the fact that Optic have momentum behind them.
On paper, one team favors this, the other team favors that. Halo is not played on paper. These 8 players have won world championships before. The shields are up, weapons are hot, we're underway on Fortress.
Keep an eye on both TriPPPeY and Renegade in this game. They have been the standout factors on CTF Fortress for both their teams respectively. And that's why we're starting off with Renegade here. Can he still continue to find the kind of KD he's been going for all season long on this map?
Pznguin already behind enemy lines. Good damage being put down by his teammates. Lqgend though gets a pretty big kill on defense. Lucid, he remains behind enemy lines. Sends that nade back from whence it came. A bound had already fallen at the hands of TriPPPeY. Lucid has ambitions to try to get his hands on this flag. A lovely sniper shot will help his cause. Flag is pulled, flag is now on the move.
Now in terms of defensive rates as well, we have seen a far better one from FaZe. They usually have about an 80% return rate when flags go out of the base. On the flip side for Optic, it's about a 60% return rate. Now Lqgend looking to try and maybe turn that 60% a little bit more as he's in the base trying to send it home.
Lqgend trying to be a thorn in the side of FaZe Clan here. Pznguin down the no shields. Lucid's not looking too strong either. And Lqgend, the French free phenom, might just get the return here. Formal. Off the back of Lqgend's good work. Flag's still live though. All the good work he put in. Pznguin goes down. Just delayed enough for Bound to get close now. Lucid down to no shield, but Bound with a little blunder here. Wasn't able to get the kill. Renegade forced off top middle. Flag gets sent home. Pznguin slams us home. And FaZe Clan take the lead.
Someone got a very important touch there off screen just to keep that one alive after Lqgend and be able to hold so strong for so long. And FaZe will take the first blow here. Now Overshield's going to be spawning, and Bound was positioning himself, but he has to retrain his focus elsewhere instead. Hands over towards Renegade. Now Renegade had an unbelievable series earlier on against SSG. I have not seen anything quite like it from this man for quite some time, and it's about time, it has to be said, because we know what Renegade is capable of. And if he plays anywhere near what he did against SSG, FaZe will be in trouble.
FaZe not looking in trouble right now as it stands. SnakeBite goes top tower. Puts one tick of damage to the Formal, but he's forced to back away as he's starting to receive fire from elsewhere. Jumps up and gets absolutely obliterated out of the air. There's enough pressure, enough presence on the map here for FaZe Clan to still hold the midline.
So as I was touching on earlier, FaZe Clan have the best record on the league when it comes to sending flags home on this map. Now it would have been improved slightly just because of the touch from Lqgend earlier, but it's because they are very good at always keeping one person alive. They very rarely will go 4 down and find themselves struggling off spawn. There's always going to be someone there just to try and be a nuisance, just to try and overextend and make sure they get that flag return.
Lucid taking an unorthodox route, it must be said, but 3 dead for Optic Gaming. Renegade last man alive. SnakeBite takes care of business. An unofficial 4 dead as Lqgend's just popped up. This flag is well and truly still alive. A touch and a sniper rifle for his troubles now. SnakeBite has a few toys to play with. Tosses the flag over towards his courtyard and will now look to be a threat on the opposition.
That was smart from SnakeBite as well. You don't want to be running with that flag and the sniper rifle, but he says, you know what, screw it, I'll do it all. You guys were a little bit late. It looks like FaZe now heading in to potentially go 2-0 up here, which is an incredible start and the perfect way to try and slow down the momentum we've seen from the green wall so far this tournament.
Things looking good. If you're fans of the players wearing red, maybe you're starting to bite your nails. You're a member of the green wall. Overshield is down bottom middle. That can help swing this game back in Optic Gaming's favor. Lucid's managed to pop it into his chest though. Lqgend gets one, SnakeBite already in the respawn screen, so numbers advantage favoring Optic Gaming, if only for a moment.
They've got tabs on Lqgend. At the moment, he just needs to try and focus on getting his shields back, which he does. Sadly, that touch isn't going to really do much for the team. I think he thought maybe everyone had pushed out and forgotten about him for a second. They had not. FaZe very good at constantly being aware of who is in and around their base, and now it's 3 dead again for Optic Gaming, and FaZe still marching forward, but Formal holding strong.
Formal holds the line. Here's footsteps underneath him. Maybe second guessed himself as it wasn't Lqgend, it wasn't an opposition, and it was Pznguin. Lqgend took care of business, and Formal hits the YY, possibly the worst time, as you had a headshot lined up for SnakeBite, but have to now reposition. TriPPPeY will just descope Formal. That means sniper rifle now is completely out of ammunition.
Now, will FaZe have to rely on that flag return rate for this game? There's still quite a lot of time here to try and defend a 2-0 lead. And if Optic do start to get going, start firing on all cylinders, we've seen what they can achieve alongside one another. So many kills will start flowing their way, and then naturally, map control will be in their favor as well. FaZe just have to be careful of that.
FaZe is still laying siege to the base. Lucid, shield's not looking too healthy. Prioritizing trying to stay alive here. Formal gets that kill. Well, Lqgend does, but Formal was there as well. Sniper rifle up in 15 seconds. That will have an influence for both teams. The overshield not too far away either. This game can well and truly open up over this next couple round of slays.
TriPPPeY has been the 6th best player in the league on this map and mode throughout this season. You can see why with his positioning, how he kind of manipulates the map in his favor. At the moment, 12 and 5 and +7 is certainly going to help FaZe Clan get this victory, but an overshield might just help Optic get back into the game.
Here is Formal then. Body shot connection from Lucid, SnakeBite's there. Just a little bit of poke damage from both players just to ensure this overshield cannot push forward, but Renegade elsewhere in the feed is popping off the sniper rifle. Formal gets another one, flag is now on the move. Renegade soars off top middle, was 4 dead for FaZe Clan. TriPPPeY the first man to spawn up. He is not going to have any effect on this flag. 2-1 should be the score, and is.
Yeah, that was a flawless flag capture for Optic Gaming. Worrying signs for FaZe Clan, I'm sure, because now they are under the cosh. There's a lot of control here for the green wall. TriPPPeY tries to escape, needs to hit the no-scope, doesn't connect with either though. And now FaZe Clan just need to try and wrestle back some form of control here on this map.
Cannot rest on their laurels. You just feel FaZe Clan are going to need another one, because holding Optic Gaming for another 4 minutes and change is going to be a very difficult task. Formal killed SnakeBite. Lucid answers back. 3v3 on the map then. Lqgend in his own base. Pznguin does some damage. Renegade top tower. And they're just applying a little bit more pressure. Just starting to turn the screw now, our Optic Gaming.
Those kind of plays that you saw from Formal, by the way, where he's just being patient, kind of ratting out a little bit, being sneaky, waiting for someone to walk past him, so important on this map as well. Usually it's easier to do if you are ahead, but sometimes you can catch the opponent off guard because they start to push up, they think no one's going to be there, and then suddenly you have the extra player for the push.
Both flags pulled out now. Numbers favor Optic Gaming. Lucid is top tower, and that's just going to delay Renegade from pushing forward. They've got to try and clear him out, and the flag carrier will take just too much damage. Lucid soars out, just about gets over the halfway point of the map. SnakeBite doubles back to try and clear his lines, but Renegade hits 5 shots. He's not missing right now.
It's another overshield. Still plenty of time, flag moving as well. 3 dead on the side of FaZe. Last remaining player is Lucid. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders to try and stay alive, but Bound's hunting him down. Bound will take him down. Flag gets pounded in, and it's just like that. It's 2-2. Optic right back into the game.
All tied up then. Momentum starting to shift. Optic Gaming finding their feet. After a slow start and a pretty dominant one for FaZe. It is now Optic Gaming in the ascendancy, and they look to be the ones most threatening of this next flag cap.
If the game does slow down a little bit, if we get another overshield, it's going to be so vital. I think that FaZe have maybe allowed Optic to get a couple too many too easily so far this game. Snipers are also about to spawn, so a lot of responsibility for those players. It looks like it's going to be TriPPPeY who grabs it for FaZe. Can he connect with a few shots to maybe just send a couple of these Optic Gaming players back to their base? There's one.
SnakeBite then. Managed to break the lines. Made it to the opposition tower. Spiral staircase, he pushes out. And actually puts down good damage. That's going to force SnakeBite to put it in reverse. Formal applying even more pressure from the front base. 2i is trained on SnakeBite. He doesn't look long for this world. Desperately trying to stay alive, and even Renegade's back there now. Down to no shield, SnakeBite will fall, and that means the pressure the FaZe clan had on the base, it's gone now. Well, haven't I said that? Too soon. Losing the sniper rifle, body shot connects, but that's for all it's good for.
And whilst every map in this series is obviously important, this one was the biggest question mark on the series layout for me. Both teams pretty much 50-50 across the season when it comes to those stats. Overshield has been picked up. This time, it goes in favor of FaZe, and Pznguin trying to speed things up a little bit, utilizing that overshield for a flag run instead of trying to get kills here.
You talk about being one of the fastest in the league at winning flags. A slight fumble for a second, but he hasn't delayed too much time. FaZe clan almost have this flag over the line with 2 members in the respawn screen. Make it 3 as Pznguin gets yet another, and he's looking to drive this one home. FaZe clan win game 1.
Open us up. And what a way to do it as well, especially after the fight back we just saw from Optic Gaming. How many times have we seen FaZe be in that position, 2-0 up, then throw a couple of flags away and the other team goes on to win it? We're starting to see FaZe really start to gel at this event. They look a little bit like a different beast here in Charlotte. And it's a bloody good time to start gelling together as a unit as well this late in the season. It was a slow one for Formal. He did have a pretty slow series as well earlier against SSG, but didn't really need to do anything because Renegade was running around getting every kill possible, so I didn't really take too much away from it. That being said, on the other side, I said at the start of the game, TriPPPeY has been a CTF Fortress player this season, and he continues to improve those stats. What an opening victory that is for FaZe clan.
We question the mentality. How would they respond to the beatdown the TriPPPeY Rebellion put on them? But now they look battle-hardened. They've dusted themselves off. They've applied some ice to their eyes. And they're ready to go 5 rounds if it needs to with Optic Gaming, one of the best teams in the world.
Well, one of the question marks on the series layout goes in favor of FaZe clan then. And heading into a Slayer, I mean, before the series we just witnessed, FaZe clan were unbeaten in Slayers at this event, and they have looked absolutely flawless, but I guess you can forgive them for losing to TriPPPeY Rebellion, who do look a different class, it has to be said, with how they're playing at the moment. So there is a real opportunity here for FaZe clan to suddenly find themselves 2-0 up in this series when we do head into that Slayer. That being said, if we see any sort of form like Renegade had against SSG, we could see FaZe also struggle and kind of question what Renegade are we going to see in this game too.
And you're worried for FaZe. But now that last series went, would the fire just die out? So it appears as though they've started to feed the flame. They've been resurrected and they're ready to go again. Optic Gaming though, the slow start, and maybe there's some warning signs there for FaZe. If you let your foot off the gas, Optic Gaming are more than capable of punishing you for it. We know how good Slayers are for FaZe clan, Dan. Talk to me about it.
Well, Slayer Streets is going to be the particular Slayer, and they are 7-2 across the season. And those 2 losses came pretty early on of this FaZe clan's career as well. So I do remember actually they lost to Optic Gaming 50-35, but again, that was way back. I'm thinking that was like Dallas time, so not much of a concern for me. I will be thinking about the likes of TriPPPeY again, who has been a vital part of their success when it comes to Slayer Streets, but Renegade is the one to watch on the side of Optic Gaming for obvious reasons, but he's probably one of the best players on Slayer Streets with how he moves around the map. He has a 1.53 KD on Slayer Streets throughout the season. So if he does start to get going, maybe FaZe will be in trouble. But Slayers have been unbelievable for FaZe. They haven't looked comfortable. There is something very different to be said there, but they have constantly got over the line, whether it's a 50-48, 50-47, doesn't matter too much. Can they continue that fine form here in Charlotte?
You got a brief look at the Slayer Streets records as well for both teams. Optic Gaming 7-3, FaZe clan 7-2. Very little separating them in the records, very little separating them in the game. And these streets aren't for everybody. We're about to find out who's going to come out on top.
So eyes on Renegade to begin with, as the battle for bottom middle starts. Who's going to get first tabs on the power up? Renegade does get caught out by Renegade, and sorry, Pznguin gets caught out by Renegade, and now the camouflage is going to be sent on by Optic Gaming. They're going to get the first chance to make a play here.
Here comes Formal. Many may fear it. Here comes the pain. He starts throwing haymakers. FaZe Clan will be in trouble. Game slows down though. You can see Formal just clearing his corners, making sure nobody being sneaky. Pznguin tries to get over towards Cafe, takes one tick of damage, manages to get a trade. The help of TriPPPeY. So 2-kill lead still. As I say that, quickly like that lead disappeared and has now been restored. While it's not been waffled. I keep waffling, kills keep happening. 3 dead for FaZe. Pznguin trying to stay alive. Lucid spawns back up over towards PD.
How many times do we see those sticks just proving to be absolutely vital in these games? Just having a sticky in your back pocket for those scenarios, absolutely everything. Just can turn the game in your favor or keep you in a game depending on where that sticky grenade goes and how many players you can connect with.
Those grenades can be a fail-safe. But things aren't going well when you're down a couple more shots in a fight. You get close, you throw it, you take the trade. 2 players, FaZe Clan over towards Arcade here. TriPPPeY gets taken care of. Here comes the collapse as well. Lucid's in trouble. Lucid's gone. Pznguin with the red gun, trying to use that stalker rifle. Fortunately for him, he's also going to fall. Optic Gaming then starting to pull away here with a 4-kill lead.
Now remember, FaZe Clan have been down quite a lot so far this tournament in Slayers, but do consistently find their way back into the game. So it's not an immediate concern for the team in red, but Optic Gaming are also a team that have been able to find themselves ahead quite often and hold on to that lead, and not just hold on to it, but dominate teams, pummel them into the floor. So FaZe need to be aware that they can't go too far behind to try and make some sort of comeback.
They don't want to leave themselves with just too much to do. Found adjusted his crosshair off the information that the repulsor was used. SnakeBite's got the camouflage, he's just gotten away as well. Heading over towards Cafe. He just oversteps and overstays his welcome. And he pays the ultimate price for it. But at the moment, SnakeBite just not looking comfortable, and you can see why. He gets taken care of. Camouflage is no longer a part of the equation.
TriPPPeY trying to take on the world, but when you try and take on one member of Optic Gaming, there's quite often a second to follow, as Renegade also trying to assert a little bit of dominance down in bottom middle. This fight doesn't go his way, but again, it's a 9-kill lead now for Optic. It's rare they throw a situation like this away. Even in these early stages, that is a very commanding lead to hold, and you can see the game slowing down already. FaZe reluctant to push out because of the amount of control Optic currently have, and Optic more than happy to wait, bide their time, and say, FaZe, it's your turn. Let's see what you got.
Optic Gaming do wait. Lovely grenade from Pznguin. Opens this up. Now, I mean, they can start to push forward now. Numbers advantage on the map, and you can see Optic immediately respond. They retreat. They give up the territory. Because map control, as nice as it is, sometimes you don't really need it in Slayer. You can take the fights wherever you want. You can dictate the pace. Legends isolate over towards PD. SnakeBite takes care of business in there. And Pznguin does not get traded out by Renegade. This is better, but still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it starts to speed up a little bit, but they have to try and find Bound, who eventually does go down. So that was the last straggling player surviving. And now it's going to be Optic Gaming forced back into Tram. Formal is in Red Room at the moment. 5 kills down are Optic Gaming. They've got to try and escape this. Let's actually jump into a listen-in with Optic and see how they break out of this.
Red Room right now, one.
Okay, heard you.
I'm taking they're all down.
Yo, two man, man. Yo, wait for me. Yo, B-Sets one shot. Yo, two man, man.
You guys in sub.
Yeah, listen, 3C.
Weak driver. Drive right now.
I want to
Yo, one shot red. SnakeBite. You stuck me, come on.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Guys, you lost guy. Gamble in 10, guys.
Don't take damage.
PD.
Yeah, watch out.
Alright, good.
Gamble, guys.
Put MC.
Yo, back to close. They have Gamble, guys. They have Gamble.
Just go. IV. He's IV looking at me stuck. IV, watch out. Nice.
They have Gamble somewhere. Try to eagle eye this.
Give me a sec. No, they have Gamble. The soccer's almost up too.
You're in a bad spot, I'm not gonna lie. I can save you.
Hey, you should.
Yo, one's running 8 Ivy. They're trying to push me
Behind me stairs. One's on shadow. Very quick.
I play for rebound here, watch rebound.
Yeah, they're playing for rebound, they're playing for rebound.
ATM, one shot Lucid, ATM, one shot Lucid. Good man.
He might jump above you. He might jump above you.
Shoot that guy.
I'm pushing the guy. Mapping agent. Mapping agent. Agent, watch taper, logger, launch bien. Guys, I need up. Back
Fire, John.
Tires not back here, guys. Yeah, fuck you. Bottom C, one tire.
T-thirds.
Main up, ATM, walking up agent now. In the smoke top agent, back in now. Back in now, John.
Got one.
Nice try.
Back here again.
I got it. Yo, B on me. He might kill me, bro. B back, kill me, Zane. He's weak, B back. I'm trying to do no one's on you,
In market.
All started off with a very important flank from Renegade just to keep Optic Gaming ahead here, but FaZe Clan did fantastically at bringing this game now within 4, was within 3. And again, it's just going to slow down once more. Optic Gaming cannot afford to give away a couple of silly deaths here to allow FaZe Clan to gain more control, but as I say that, Renegade gets another opener. It's him again.
Renegade trying to be the point of difference. Settles for a trade. Bound pushes the arcade. Finds a dangerous snake. They trade. Trades are good. Trades are exactly what the doctor ordered here for Optic Gaming. They can trade all the way to the finish line to tie up this series.
20 seconds until that camo spawns. Lucid trying to get aggressive, but Formal continues to be a nuisance, staying alive and always has a sticky grenade by the looks of it, but has fallen. Renegade also goes down, and suddenly FaZe Clan right back into it again. Just when you think maybe Optic are going to get just far enough away from FaZe Clan, they crawl their way back in.
Every single time they seem to get close, Optic Gaming have almost been like their big brother, placing their hands on their heads and saying, go on, hit me. They haven't been able to land the blow in this Slayer. Getting within 3, then it becomes 4 again. This next round of Slays, FaZe Clan have got to try and get the better of it. Apply more pressure. Because right now, Optic Gaming, whilst they have the lead, they can play the pace game. They can slow it down, they can wait.
All I'll say is if you try and do that to your little brother, eventually he's going to connect with you. Whether it's your belly, your bollocks, doesn't matter, it's going to hurt, and you've got to be careful. You don't want to allow FaZe to get into that position. 3 kills now they find themselves in, and Lucid does have the camouflage. FaZe have been doing this a lot this tournament. When they look like they're dead, they look like they're out, they find a way back into the game. Optic have to hold strong.
How strong is that hold going to be? Lucid, huge double kill. And now within 1. Numbers advantage, the collapse comes. And they're spawning down towards Tram. These next few nades are going to be big. Lucid's got a backstab here on the Formal, gets 1. Edging close the distance. SnakeBite is there, gets another. It's still a 1-kill game, make it 2.
Optic do well to hold on and get some trades though. Still have a very slender lead, but Pznguin fires one back in their favor. And like every Slayer we've seen so far, bar the Shopify Rebellion series, FaZe are crawling their way back into it. But now, Optic shining when they needed to. 3 more kills required here.
Winning their 1s. 2 kills. Make it 3 again. TriPPPeY's back tower. Bound sits bottom middle and waits for his teammates to do damage. Renegade gets open though. The backstabs. Bound's in a bit of a precarious position now. Grenades come out of the tram and they take him down. SnakeBite and Lucid push forward. The final kill comes though. And it's Lucid's friends who find themselves now 1-1 in the series. Optic Gaming have taken that one.
So Optic Gaming will hold off the FaZe comeback. And what was an unbeaten Slayer record at the start of today for FaZe has just slowly fallen away from them. It was only sometimes you could come back from near death, it would seem. And Optic Gaming get a must-win on the board, otherwise this series might have just started to look a little bit unreachable. Lucid with 15 kills certainly gave his best go at it on the FaZe side. As I said, Formal had a quiet game 1, well he certainly woke up game 2.
And for FaZe, with the Slayer record, it was good. But they're always by 1 kill, 2 kills. And you started to worry, at what point, when you start to play with fire, you've got Shopify Rebellion and Optic Gaming on the horizon. Does that fire start to burn? Rebellion beat them in a Slayer, and now Optic Gaming have too.
I think the worry for me when I looked at those stats is they were the best slaying team in the tournament, but the average margin of which they were winning those games, they were like 6th or 7th best in the tournament. And there is a clear difference in how those should really work. You are just barely getting over that finish line, and as soon as you come up against some teams who have that extra little bit of experience as well as you do, or just as much experience to be honest, you can be punished that little bit more. And even though FaZe tried their hardest to come back into that game, because remember, they were down by about 9 in the early stages, Optic do show their experience, they show how much veteranship they have on that stage, and now they tie us up 1-1 before we head into Stronghold's recharge for map 3.
So although FaZe Clan have made Optic bleed, the perfect response from the green wall. This series now, with it being all tied up, Tony spoke about how important games 3 and 4 were going to be, and he thought they favored Optic Gaming. Dan, you had a slightly different opinion.
Again, I would say that I think Stronghold's recharge is pretty even for both of them when you look at the baseline statistics, but I know Tony likes to deep dive, and perhaps he's seen something a little bit different when it comes to who they've been facing. Maybe Optic have been able to get one over FaZe Clan on Stronghold's recharge a couple more times than he would like. So we will have to see whether that happens here. But 2 players I want to look out for. SnakeBite on the side of FaZe, a 1.24 KD across the season when it comes to Stronghold's recharge. And then for Optic Gaming, Formal has been their main man when it comes to getting those kills. But it's not just about kills when it comes to Strongholds. Sometimes you need someone who's getting in those Strongholds and getting the time done. That's going to be Lucid and that's going to be Lqgend on their respective teams. So 2 very important players, not just for their kills, but for their objective work here.
Lqgend, key to his team, typically likes to be either the entry player or he likes to go in with bound, headbutting anybody that's in his way. I call Glasgow kisses sometimes, but maybe the Paris kiss can work as well.
I don't know, I've seen Zinedine Zidane do something similar at the World Cup, and the French maybe are known for it, and that's why he's going to be the one that's going to be in those strongholds, scoring the stronghold points as well, because he is head first into it, happy to take any gunfight, such a confident player, and does not look out of place on the main stage. It doesn't feel too long ago when he was just playing alongside the Europeans, and we were so happy to see them push into the top 6, then the top 3, and then suddenly he's lifting trophies, and he certainly doesn't look like he's unfamiliar up there on the main stage.
I mean, it's funny you say that. It wasn't that long ago he was on the European team. It wasn't that long ago I was watching him play Halo 5 2v2 tournaments with 100 viewers, and how quickly things change.
So this is why Tony's saying he feels like it's a mismatch, because at this tournament, Strongholds has not gone in favor of FaZe Clan. But of course, Strongholds is over several maps, and Stronghold's recharge in particular is a little bit better for FaZe Clan. That being said, with the 4-4 record that I was talking about for Optic Gaming, their 3 losses have come not on Stronghold's recharge as well. So there is something to be said that Optic Gaming are in form when it comes to this tournament, but FaZe Clan, if they think back to actually their stronger game types, I think recharge might just be a little bit better than those stats suggest.
And we've seen a little bit there, you didn't touch on it, but the average margin in which teams are winning and losing. For Optic, it was in and around 60 points, but for FaZe Clan, they were losing by 120 points, which is a significant margin, Dan.
It is, and it is something that we've seen from several different teams here in this tournament, where they'll get absolutely obliterated on Strongholds, but then they'll go into a King of the Hill or they go into an Oddball and they look like a completely different roster, and that is just purely down to play styles. Are you a team who struggles a little bit with the pace of play when someone is just, like you said, going head first, taking fights constantly, you never really get that chance to reset, that chance to think about it? Or are you a team who prefers a little bit more of a methodical setup in King of the Hill, in Oddball, in Capture the Flag? Well, we're going to find out where both of these teams lie in terms of that playstyle right here, right now on Stronghold's recharge. It is probably the slowest Strongholds that we have in the HCS, which maybe bodes well for them.
We had a brief pause, maybe a brief ceasefire between FaZe Clan and Optic Gaming whilst we took a little break. Both teams now back in their seats, locked in, dialed in, ready to win a map. Stronghold's recharge is on the horizon, and although bullets aren't firing, you might still be able to smell the gunpowder. This thing's not over. We'll be going straight back to war any second.
Does feel like this series is already feeling like one of those that's going to go the distance, just how tight it's been already in this series. Early start slow everything on Stronghold's recharge, allowing you to set up, allowing you to gain control, allowing you to dictate the pace. And it's going to be Optic Gaming who bite first here.
Renegade, shock rifle, camouflage. A truly powerful combination. Just getting information. Looked at the fire right now, but he has been spotted out. SnakeBite making himself a very difficult kill, and the camouflage falls, as does the shock rifle, and is now in the hands of a FaZe Clan member in TriPPPeY. We've seen him go to work with this thing on quite a number of occasions.
This is already worrying signs for FaZe. You don't want to allow this to slow down. Oh, sorry, you have to make this slow down. Optic aren't going to want it to slow down. They're going to want to keep the strip cap, and they're going to want to dominate the scoreline. Finally, FaZe stop that bleeding. TriPPPeY in an important position as well with this shock rifle.
They've stopped the bleeding for the triple cap, but Optic Gaming are still scoring points here. Lucid's gotten a kill, but Pznguin's also fallen. So the reset comes. Nobody was able to step inside B. TriPPPeY looking to rotate here, but he's given up A. Teammates should be spawning in and around there, so shouldn't be no harm, no foul. That makes that one a difficult kill, but his blushes are spared as he does get one on the Lqgend before ultimately falling. Renegade's got control of pipes here. He's got an enemy combatant inside B. Goes to engage, plasma pistol hits him right in the munch, and he's forced to back away.
It's taken a long time, but finally FaZe have gained some control of this map, but Renegade right there to rip it away from them here. And he's more than happy to take this fight at B. Pznguin, try as you might, but what can you do against Renegade when he's playing like this? Picks up the double, takes B, and Optic Gaming scoring again, forcing FaZe Clan back into the death screen.
A is now being contested as well. SnakeBite and TriPPPeY have gotten a couple of kills though. That will ease the concerns and ease the cause. But the issue is 91 points to 6. Pretty healthy lead right now for Optic Gaming. And they still have A and C, well, at least they did until A now getting ripped away from them. Pznguin's down bottom middle with no shields. Bounce slides forward, Lucid's there to provide some support. He's also being backed up. These teams continue to trade damage left and right. They're squabbling over the camouflage right now. Lucid's getting tagged up from behind from the long haul position. He's forced to back away into pit. Renegade slides past them and straight into his demise.
The shroud screen usage has changed quite a lot ever since its introduction to the HCS. The meta, as it were, of where you put it, how you position it. Is it going to be an offensive tool, a defensive tool? Something we did see there is sometimes it does just allow a player to zip on past you without seeing you. The coverage it provides can be excellent. Now, this is better for FaZe Clan. The trip cap, and they force Optic Gaming to make a decision here. Do you go A or B? Sorry, C or B. I think A is going to be pretty safe for FaZe, just the position they currently hold. It looks like Optic are going to go for somewhat of a split here of both.
They get B. You can see FaZe Clan were reluctant to push forward. Lucid got picked, and that meant that the setup was broken wide open. As a result of that, Pznguin has to settle for a trade. Lqgend's able to get inside C, and that means B. But Optic Gaming have got a hold of it. Lqgend was forced to back away. FaZe Clan can tiptoe right back over there and retake control of it. But Optic Gaming are now inside elevator, and they're taking A. We're trading point for point, but it's Optic Gaming now who should manage to keep on scoring.
There's a little bit of ring around the rosies there for FaZe Clan, saying, all right, if you're going to go C, we'll just transition over towards B. But then it was the damage output from Lqgend, from that C stronghold, that really helped Optic Gaming just lock down a couple of positions here as Renegade tries to push in. Does go down to TriPPPeY, though. That means C is going to be back in their control, and A is currently being focused on as well, because 3 members were currently down from Optic. And suddenly, this game is right back into FaZe Clan's control. And remember, they were down 50, 60 points. And just like that, they're in the lead.
Down was the last man alive for his team at the time, and he was over towards pipes, and he just waited for his teammates to spawn back up. Gave them a pretty decent spawn and a platform to build on. Shock rifle will not find a home to that player over towards top tower. Formal's forced now to reposition. Lucid over towards blue, just ducks under the headshot. Great game awareness, knowing that Formal was more than likely going to aim for that face because that's the instant kill. So he maneuvers his hitbox just out of the line of sight, just out of that crosshair. And it was that pixel was just enough to keep him in the fight and to get the kill. The Slays are going the way of FaZe. Lucid dives out of gold, along with the shock rifle. SnakeBite's got the camouflage, TriPPPeY keeps him alive as well. So FaZe are working really well together now.
I mean, it was another TriPPPeY that just scored him 50 bloody points. I mean, Optic Gaming can't allow FaZe to continue to get these TriPPPeys so comfortably. But at the same time, we've seen how back and forth that has been. All it takes is Optic to get 3 or 4 down, and then they'll find themselves with a chance at a TriPPPeY as well. So if you are FaZe here, you maybe just need to be thinking about, all right, if I see a couple of members of my team go down, I have to suddenly be a far harder kill.
Renegade will get A for Optic. B already in their control, as is C for the moment. 3 members of FaZe clan over towards blue, and a lot of damage being done, but kills starting to follow it as well, as Formal gets a pretty easy double kill. He is eventually traded out though. Pznguin's over towards B, trying to contest it. He's down to no shields, and now he's no longer a problem, no longer an issue, no longer a concern.
A will be taken, but that was a brilliant hold from Optic Gaming, using Renegade as a little bit of bait before Formal came in to clean up the pieces. FaZe did send almost everything towards A, but Optic were kind of happy to let it happen because they were still scoring, and Bound is still heading into these kills and more than happy to take them.
Triple kill comes right in the nick of time for Bound. Optic Gaming just starting to pull away now. A and C in their control, that's not what they will want, but it's what they have to settle for. This game has been so scrappy, it's been so back and forth. 2 members down for Optic, 3 members up for FaZe clan. And they'll start to score now. A and B flip over towards FaZe clan.
It's an important position for TriPPPeY with the shock rifle. If you can connect with a couple of heads here, he'll be back into the game, might be back on top, but he does whiff the first. And now he's going to be pushed by Renegade. Have to win this engagement, can't afford to go down, does win it. And that is a solid hold from TriPPPeY, but now Lqgend here to maybe clean things up.
TriPPPeY just avoids the Frenchman. He gets his shields back. The shields weren't even all the way back, and the shock rifle does the damage. Huge kills from TriPPPeY. And off the back of that, good work. They had a triple cap for just a brief moment, and they're back into the lead.
I mean, just when you think this game is going to go in one team's favor, the other team fights their way back in. We are seeing 2 teams desperate to get into that grand final once more and have a stab at Shopify Rebellion. Both teams being knocked here into this position by that Shopify roster. And now once again, Optic find themselves controlling A and B. TriPPPeY misses though. It was a big shot.
How important will that whiff be? He's not able to convert on either one of those kills. Now SnakeBite's been a rock in a hard place. 2 members of Optic Gaming faced up. He's done as much damage as he could. He got 1, but that wasn't good enough. That's now A and B, firmly in Optic Gaming's control. And we've tied up the game now, with Optic Gaming just taking the lead.
I mean, this one is a nail-biter for both sets of fans here. You would struggle to bet which way this one's going to go. But Optic looking the more likely at the moment. Now they have A and B in their control, and they know the spawns of FaZe. TriPPPeY again in a position to make a difference, though, and he will make said difference. Gets the opener onto Formal. Player advantage now for FaZe clan to start to push it.
SnakeBite and TriPPPeY combined, pick up a couple of kills. 3 dead for Optic Gaming. FaZe clan back inside the hills. Triple cap should and will get locked back in now. What response do the green wall have?
I mean, in a game that's been topsy-turvy, back and forth, this might be the perfect time to get that trip cap in your hands once more. Optic, 1 chance to break here. As Bound goes down, it's a trade though.
It's a good trade. They hold. They hold the line. Lqgend has to go. Formal goes bottom middle. Renegade pushes top elevator. TriPPPeY's all alone inside A. They have not sent the resources to support them. 3 go down for FaZe clan, and Optic Gaming break the setup.
Make it 4. B's being taken as well, and now off spawn FaZe. I don't even know if they've got time.
They've had the game completely ripped from them, and the green wall goes straight back into the lead.
And choice words sent across the stage as well. Optic know how important that game was, as do the green wall. They were mere moments from being 2-1 down in that series. But they clutched up, they iced up. And that is going to be a difficult one to come back from now for FaZe clan. It was right there for them. They had the position, they had the hold of the strongholds, but sadly, they just couldn't stop the aggression that we just saw from Optic.
SnakeBite inside blue, he gets the trade. He ensures that there's no man advantage. It was a straight 3v3. TriPPPeY isolated top elevator. Damage was done from glass. It kept him weak. Renegade slides in. It was a picture-perfect break from Optic Gaming.
Well, we knew this series was going to be a close one, and it is not disappointing here. A chance for all these players to take a breath, let that adrenaline settle down a little bit, because you've got to go again. It is not job done just yet for the Green Wall. And whilst they already won away, things can change very quickly as we head into map 4. King of the Hill live fire is slightly better, in my opinion, for the Optic Gaming side.
And it's so difficult when you're in that situation as FaZe. You almost have to gamble. You have that one player A, you've got one player over towards gold, and you're hoping that player in blue can provide cover for whichever hill they decide they want to push. The issue is, if 3 players go, and damage is already done on the map, you can be overwhelmed so easily. They played it so well. You feel sorry for FaZe to throw it away, but we have seen them make those errors, throw games away like that. You don't want to harp on maybe FaZe not playing it well. As a matter of fact, let's talk about how well Optic Gaming did to clutch up, to show some ice.
I mean, that's why Optic Gaming are one of the best to ever do it. That's what this team was built for, remember, for those exact moments when you can lean on your best players to make a difference, to clutch up. One thing that FaZe will at least still be relying on is that Game 5 possibility of Slayer Aquarius, which does heavily favor FaZe when it comes to stats, when it comes to history, but now it's about getting there. If they'd won that game, they would at least have guaranteed whatever happened, they could have got to Game 5, and if they lose Game 4. But now they're going to have to dig deep in King of the Hill live fight if they want to see that Slayer Aquarius that maybe, just maybe, could be enough to get them over the finish line here.
FaZe Clan now, all out of lifelines. Backs are well and truly to the wall. They're on the ropes. They've allowed Optic Gaming to throw one too many punches, it would seem. Seems almost dumb to say this next map is so important, but it's absolutely huge. Because for FaZe Clan, coming so close, let's not forget, Game 1 was so close. But they've lost the Slayer 50-47. They've lost the Strongholds 250 to 247. So there's barest the margins between these teams, Dan, across the 3 maps.
I mean, yeah, 3 kills, 3 points. But it won't matter if at the end there is 3 maps going in favor of Optic Gaming. But King of the Hill live fire, again, I do think this series layout has been the perfect one for these 2 teams to go at it, because it is so back and forth, and they've both been so incredible. Or they lacked somewhat in some of the maps as well, which is what has provided such entertainment for us. King of the Hill live fire, we've got FaZe, who are 4-1 across the season. We've got Optic, who are 5-2 across the season. So pretty even. In terms of the series stats, though, these are 2 players I've mentioned a couple of times as being key performers going into each map and mode. And again, they are going to be players that we have to watch out for. That could just be the difference maker. TriPPPeY is 1.22 as his KD in King of the Hill live fire throughout this season. But even though Renegade is on your screen, don't forget about Lqgend as well. He's actually been the main man when it comes to King of the Hill live fire with a 1.27 KD this season.
It's almost the issue you run into when you start highlighting players to watch in the next game or in the series. Is that you can point your finger towards any 8 in the lobby, and they're just as likely as the last or the next to perform or to outperform. And Optic Gaming up against FaZe Clan, and for the Green Wall, they just need one more, and their ticket to the Grand Finals is punched.
Well, it's do or die for FaZe Clan, and if you're here for FaZe or if you're here for Optic, this is the time now to get behind your boys. Because without you, they might be finding themselves eliminated from the competition. Renegade gets taken down early, but Lucid is also traded out, but it is TriPPPeY who gets hold of that sniper rifle to kick us off.
Eyes over towards green. The damage from Lqgend just means that TriPPPeY can't get comfortable, he can't plant his feet, and he keeps him out of the scope. So if TriPPPeY was going to hit his shot, it would have had to been a little bit of magic. Not that he's not capable of it. Lucid with the camouflage now. He's lost a couple of teammates in the dance. It's all about just getting information now. Sniper rifle has been passed over. TriPPPeY drops it for his duo.
Enemy about to score.
Lucid clearing out all the angles. He's well aware of what Optic Gaming can do and where they can be hiding. He gets one, gets a second. Ripping faces. 3 dead for Optic Gaming.
A lot of time being gathered already though from Optic. It did take FaZe quite a while to get over towards this hill, but it won't matter if they can just hold strong here for another 20 seconds or so as another face is found. And if we start to see the likes of Season 1 Lucid, well, Optic Gaming might be running with their tails between their legs.
All that progress Optic Gaming made.
Enemy about to
FaZe Clan now closing on it. Found! Body shot and a headshot to boot. It wasn't required, but you get style points anyway. Formal answers back. Pznguin puts him down. Renegade steps inside. Plasma grenade goes down. FaZe are there to hold the line. And FaZe Clan open up the scoring.
I mean, that's the perfect start for FaZe. They bided their time. They knew full well Optic were going to send themselves over towards the hill, but they prioritized other parts of the map. They made sure they got hold of the sniper rifle. You saw how impactful that sniper was going to be. And it's not only going to be impactful for the first time on this map, it is going to be something we harp on about all throughout live fire. This time, though, it goes into the hands of Pznguin. 2 more shots, but 2 headshots could prove to be vital for this second hill.
Body connects.
What do you do?
Pznguin lines up formal. It's a swing and a miss this time, though. Grenades are sent down the hallway just to provide cover as Pznguin disappears. Bound steps up to get the camouflage. He gets killed, though, and the question is, did he get an opportunity to get the burn? 3 dead, double kill for Pznguin, but Renegade was there with the backstab.
More points being scored. FaZe find themselves 1-0 up in the game. 2-1 down in the series. Let's jump into a listening with FaZe Clan and see how they're feeling right now.
enemy about to score.
Well, we are back. It was a little bit quiet, but maybe you heard some of those murmurs. All I can say is FaZe were just focusing off the respawn to try and break this setup because they are so close, but sadly, when you see Lqgend in a position like this, you know it's going to be a difficult break! It's a double, and it's another head ripped off the shoulders.
Optic Gaming inches away from tying up this game, and they do secure the hill. They gambled on a rotation, and eventually it's paid dividends. Despite all the work and all the resources FaZe Clan put into it, they've got nothing to show for it. And Lqgend's not done. Another headshot onto Lucid.
Again, it's such fine margin, so close with FaZe Clan to being 2-0 up, just as Optic were close to being a single point up in that first hill. But the sniper rifle making the difference again.
Lqgend's not feeling too comfortable. SnakeBite was hanging around, and he was an unwelcome guest. Killing spree for Lqgend, continuing to do damage, continuing to have an influence. Pznguin was forced to back away, but he did not get far, and Renegade picks up a double.
Well, thanks to, I think, Lqgend connecting with the foot of the Spartan on the opposition team. Lqgend's not done yet. He says, you know what, I'll melee the wall and you, and still get the job done. Now TriPPPeY trying to push up, seeing if he can maybe find himself into a position to break this setup, but even with his back to screen, he's still being focused on.
Bound was in a position of power. He turns 1 into 2. What's his next magic trick? He disappears from the server for a moment. Lucid gets the camouflage, gets away. Perhaps FaZe Clan starting to think about giving this one up and prioritizing the rotation.
Yeah, they have to. Can't really get this one now, and especially with camo. Instead, it's about focusing on how you try and secure the 4th hill to tie it up. And it's all about positioning for Lucid. Not only are you going to be relaying a lot of information at this point, but you are going to be the first point of contact. And I tell you what, shots like that certainly help.
The first and the second point of contact, but Renegade responds in kind with a double kill of his own. Lucid fighting off the back foot, trying his best but the pressure keeps on coming. Steps inside the hill. Optic playing this one patiently, but they're keeping Lucid alive. Most of it from his good work, maybe from some negligence at the same time. And he's continuing to have an influence. He was able to delay just long enough, and now Optic Gaming find themselves 3 dead.
Maybe some criticism early stages of this year and last year of Lucid. Did he still have what it takes to play at the very top level of Halo Infinite? I think that is evidently a very firm yes with how he's playing right now, 14-8. One of the key reasons why FaZe Clan find themselves close to getting this 4th hill. They're halfway through those points. But now Optic have regained control, and especially again with the sniper rifle being in the hands of Bound, FaZe have got to find a way to kind of maneuver their way around the map outside of these sniper sightlines. But when Bound is repositioning like this, where do you go? Any corner you turn, there seems to be a sniper in your face. Good grenade.
Grenade clears out some riff-raff bottom tower. Formal goes down too. Renegade though, ever a threat. Ever productive on the map, but this time he also falls. Now Bound's the last man alive for his team. They don't seem to know where he's positioned. He's over towards where that camouflage will spawn. It looks as though FaZe Clan might be giving Optic Gaming a touch of their medicine. Optic now forced to give this one up, excuse me, whilst they play the rotation game and wait for top middle.
I mean, I'm watching this series and I'm just wishing it was the best of 7, because this is going to be heartbreak if we were to see FaZe lose this one 3-1 with how close every single game is. But 3-1 isn't a guarantee right now, because FaZe Clan still very much in this one. Active camo is going to be very important here, but Renegade tried to steal it. Did he pop it is my question. If he didn't, there's a huge chance for FaZe, especially if TriPPPeY's playing like that. Huge double for him.
Massive trade from TriPPPeY. Call it a trade, almost undersells and undervalues what it was. He managed to pick up a couple of kills before that, even do damage to the player with the camouflage. SnakeBite now. Prioritizing staying alive, getting information, doing damage at the same time. He now sees where Formal's positioned. Renegade's not too far behind him, gets one, but gets shot in the back by Bound. But it's FaZe still inside this hill. They're getting a couple of ticks towards their goal.
Good aggression from Lucid as well. You don't allow Formal to stay alive, get his shields back. Instead, you hunt down that kill. There were several down there for Optic, but now you turn around and suddenly there's 2 other members within that hill. FaZe maybe not capitalizing on the damage that they were able to do there. Instead, focusing on positioning, focusing on holding this tower. We know how important tower is for this hill. Lucid, arguably the most important player on the map right now.
He done so much damage as well. Forced Lqgend out of the hill and then got Bound down to no shields over towards Sandbags with that commando. Just sitting top tower like an automated turret. But Formal gets his toes inside the hill, and now he's starting to score and starting to close the distance of the progress the FaZe Clan had already made inside that hill. 3 dead for FaZe Clan. They might get one last try at breaking this setup, breaking this hold.
It was such a good push from Optic Gaming as well. They saw Lucid. Renegade used the QT to go top middle, get shots initially, and then he QTs back and sends Formal in, he sends Bound in, and they take every angle possible at tower to remove Lucid from that position. And now they have map control, now they have hill control, and they should be getting this 3rd point on the board.
FaZe Clan came, and they were handled. They went 4 dead. Optic Gaming take the lead. SnakeBite over towards green. Formal doesn't find a home for that first shot. TriPPPeY ventures out, and he pays the price for doing so. Members of Optic Gaming opting to go for a rotate here, perhaps trying to pop up from bottom middle. As Formal heads towards Sandbags, looking for different lines of sight, different angles, but Formal's been caught from the big door. He disappears into the air.
SnakeBite doing so well at staying alive there, though, and just being a nuisance in back green. Formal desperate to get that headshot, but SnakeBite not showing enough. And again, just positioning themselves out of the common angles that the sniper rivals find themselves in here. And now FaZe Clan find themselves halfway through to their 3rd point on the map, but now Optic Gaming starting to push. Pznguin trying to hold hands with SnakeBite to stay alive, and it looks like Pznguin still is there to maybe keep this one in their favor, but no sir, says Formal.
Lucid has camo. He doesn't have a lot of friends on the map right now, though. Perhaps they wait for Pznguin to spawn back up. SnakeBite and Lucid combined, they get 1. Lucid now pushes forward. Couple of ticks of damage into bound. Formula's there as well. Might have just gotten the sniper rifle off the map. An unofficial 4 dead as Renegade comes back as Lqgend says goodbye. But FaZe Clan firmly inside this hill. What do Optic Gaming have? Are they likely to give this one up? Are we going to a 3-3 game and a 1-kill game? Or 1-cap game? 3-3 now. Next cap wins.
I mean, I wouldn't have written it any differently if I had a script. Down to the final hill here on Livefire. Lucid gets the early control, but with TriPPPeY going down, he has to reposition. Another early opener, Lqgend falls. FaZe Clan starting to get aggressive in certain areas, trying to catch Optic Gaming before they get close to this hill, and I like it. But maybe Bound can do something here on the flank.
Enemy team.
Bound gets taken care of. Lqgend looking, surveying the land, trying to capitalize on information, gets the damage on the SnakeBite, turns it into a kill. Converts one. Turns towards Pznguin. TriPPPeY does some damage over towards the dummy side. Renegade is there to provide cover fire, but he falls. Lucid hits 5 fresh shots. Pznguin's top middle, trying to give Lqgend the wiggles. Lucid gets back tower. The FaZe Clan starting to leak through now.
Such a good push from FaZe again. Every button angle is taken. SnakeBite shuts down top tower. FaZe have control again. Optic find themselves 2 dead, 4 more removed from the map. And now FaZe Clan, they've got them on staggered spawns here. Snipe's coming up, but I don't even know if it's going to play a part in this one.
FaZe Clan deeply entrenched now, over towards this hill. SnakeBite's top tower, getting information for his team. Top middle's clear for now. Lqgend takes some damage before he can get close. FaZe continue to keep them at arm's length. They come over top middle. SnakeBite's down to no shields. These next couple kills are going to be massive. Lucid and Pznguin combined. FaZe Clan look the strongest. 2v2 on the map. Player down to no shield. TriPPPeY gets one. Bound has to back away and forced to give this one up. And FaZe Clan push us to a game 5.
Everything this series has deserved. It wouldn't have felt right if we weren't going to a game 5. And FaZe Clan holds strong against the green wall here. It was a valiant effort in those final moments from the Optic Gaming roster, but FaZe just found those perfect spots, and they didn't just turtle up. They weren't just hiding and taking loose angles. They were pushing onto Optic Gaming over and over again. If they saw someone at nest, they took the bridge angle. If they saw someone down at dummies, they were sliding down ramp. They weren't just forcing themselves back to tower and allowing Optic to dictate the pace. FaZe were taking the game to the green wall.
It wasn't structured, it wasn't rigid, it was fluid. They moved where they need to. They pushed the pieces to the side of the board, which was looking the strongest. They made the right decisions. They clutched up. And now we're going to a shootout.
Just a quick look at the stats then. Lqgend did what he could, 23 kills. The only member of the team with a positive KDA, but every member on Optic Gaming tried their hardest to rescue that game when FaZe did have control in the final moments. But it was Lucid who really stepped up for FaZe. In the early stages, with the camo, with the sniper rifle, it was Lucid in the kill feed often, but it was also the positions that Lucid was taking, the info he was giving to the rest of the team so that Optic weren't able to get a jump on the FaZe Clan setups. Such a good game of Halo Infinite from these two. And again, I wouldn't have had it any other way with the fact we go down to the last hill, which takes us then into a game 5.
And sometimes our job, we're tasked with telling the viewers what went wrong, what went right. It's just 2 teams playing at the very top level, throwing hammer and tongs, blow for blow, 2 heavyweights standing in the middle of the ring. And both teams have already hit the mat twice. Next one down is out of the competition.
And sometimes it does come down to just a single sniper body shot, or a headshot, a grenade, a sticky, a melee, a camo.
You're just naming everything in the game right now.
But everything is just small, minor decisions that can be made. If you don't pick up that camo, if you don't find yourself in that position, if you don't get that sticky grenade 10 seconds earlier, and the headshots that we saw with a sniper rifle is why we saw that game going back and forth. It was traded off. But now we head into a game 5. Slayer Aquarius for a spot in the grand finals here at the last major of Halo Infinite before we head to the World Championships later this month. And it is Slayer Aquarius. I would argue a better game type for FaZe Clan. They find themselves 4-1 throughout this season on this map and mode, whereas Optic Gaming, they are 3-5. They have not done well when it comes to Slayer Aquarius. That being said, current form is everything. And we've seen FaZe lose now 2 Slayers in a row today here at Championship Sunday.
Taking a look at the records, 3-5, 4-1, like you mentioned. 15th Optic Gaming are ranked versus 4th. What a stat line that is. But this series has had everything. 1 flag capture the difference, 3 kills, 3 strongholds points, and 1 hill. It would not surprise me if this finishes 50-49, Dan, and I'm not calling it.
I'd take a draw, and then we go into another game 5. I said I wanted a best of 7. Maybe we can get that way by a couple of draws going into this series. But it's hard to pick out a player, a standout player of who's going to be the most important here in this series, because everyone has played their part. But I think, honestly, if I had to pick someone, it's probably Lucid now going into this last game. Not only has he been the standout player for FaZe on this map in particular, but I think coming off of Game 4 and the way that he's just played, the confidence he's going to have going into this Game 5, he's the type of player who can run this show. And that you can say the same thing about everyone else on that main stage, but if Lucid does get going and starts to pummel them into the ground, it could be difficult to come back from for Optic.
Now you talk about big game moments, big game players. Sometimes it's big game trippies. But is the pressure going to break one of these teams? All 8 players, they know what it takes. They've been here before. They've been past this point before. They've lifted world championships. Incredible what we've seen. And this series not done yet. This series still somehow has more to give.
And that extra bit of pressure onto FaZe Clan, with it being the FaZe Major here in Charlotte. Extra FaZe fans in the crowd. And you're also going up against the biggest fan base that we have in Halo, Optic Gaming. Everything feels like it might be stacked against you, but what a release it will be if you're able to win that Game 5. And you know full well, whichever way this goes, there is going to be a bit of an eruption on that main stage on one of the sides. You already saw it after Game 3. You don't often see Optic Gaming getting up, getting loud. It doesn't always happen. Throughout the elimination bracket, they've been pretty comfortable, gliding through it, beating teams and then just getting up, a quick fist bump, onto the next one. But I think both of these teams know how important this series is, not just for this tournament, but as we move into the World Championship as well at the end of this month. To go in as a grand final team and to get another stab at Shopify Rebellion, because both of these teams will be thinking, you know, I don't feel like we showed our best against Shopify, or we really want a best of 7, or maybe 2 best of 7s against Rebellion as well. There's some of our better game types, but you don't get that chance if you fall here in the elimination final.
And you might ask the question, who does this game mean more to? You look at the players on that stage. What does this series mean? Is it Optic Gaming just to get to a grand finals and keep the pressure on Shopify Rebellion? Or is it FaZe Clan? A lot of those players looking for vindication. They were overlooked. They were cast aside. Players left them. Well, another 2 players were dropped. They've come together now. And they're moments away, kills away from a grand finals. Going toe-to-toe with Shopify Rebellion. And for Optic Gaming, what way does the narrative shake out if they lose this series heading into the Worlds? Form is everything sometimes. But sometimes series are bigger than form, bigger than moments. And these 8 players, it's all on the line.
Optic Gaming were built to win championships. They weren't built to be knocked out in the elimination final. And whilst still with the World Championship coming up, that's going to be the main focus for everyone. That trophy and the chance at trying to take down Shopify Rebellion is equally as important right now in this current moment. You want to go in with good form. And you can see the fist bumps are out, the players are ready, and it looks like it's that time. For everyone's favorite time when it comes to the HCS, it's a Game 5. It's the elimination finals. It's Optic Gaming versus FaZe Clan.
You see Formal doing a little shake off before the fist bumps. Both these teams heading towards the center of the ring. Aquarius is the stage. Opening breaks can be so important. Optic Gaming 0-1 versus FaZe's 2-0 from Charlotte. These map 5s. In these big series, these moments, they don't come around too often, but when they do, it's what players, what teams have the most composure. The shields are up again, the weapons are hot, and we're rolling.
Optic Gaming haven't needed Game 5s throughout this tournament. The only one they've seen, yes, they did go down, but FaZe Clan, they've been pushed right to the brink in a couple of these series, but when they've got to that moment, they have shown such incredible resilience to be able to sometimes come back in these Slayers. But Renegade, the man on your screen, boy, has he been an X-factor for this roster today. And I mentioned it earlier, if he plays anything like he did against SSG with the amount of KD we saw, FaZe Clan might struggle to keep him down.
Formal got a little look at Pznguin there, but refused to fire his weapon. Didn't want to give away his positioning. SnakeBite and Lucid have fallen here. 2-kill game. Pznguin's going to drop as well. The slender lead. But it's significant enough. Because now Optic Gaming have map control. And FaZe Clan are between a rock and a hard place. All 4 players over towards this fridge. And if some grenades start flying out of pockets, they could be in some massive trouble here. Pznguin's down to no shields. Formal can just bide his time while his teammates do damage elsewhere. SnakeBite has his head and his tail tucked up in the corner. And he's hoping and praying that his teammates can do something. SnakeBite and Pznguin combined. Formal closes the distance. SnakeBite gets another kill. 3 dead for Optic Gaming. A good hold from FaZe Clan.
Better than a good hold, an unbelievable hold from FaZe. We would have seen teams fall, all 4 of them in that scenario, especially against this Optic roster. But to hold, not just backs to a wall, backs to each other, hand in hand to make sure that you can actually get at least 1, but they turned it into 3. Now we're at 9-8. It could have quite easily been like 12-4 had FaZe Clan not had that success.
SnakeBite remains inside the fridge. But he's not looking for a sweet treat or a snack. He's looking for some kills. They can be best served cold, room temp, or hot. He doesn't care, he'll take them any which way they come. TriPPPeY steps forward, gets taken care of though. Playing a little bit loose, playing a little bit away from his team. He gets picked, he pays the price, he gets punished. Lucid in the base. Pznguin does a ticket damage. Bound is aware of the positioning of exactly where Lucid is expected to be.
Is he?
He cleared his corner, it's like he heard a footstep.
Well, he knows now, 100%. And I do wonder, was TriPPPeY trying to be a little bit of a distraction for Lucid? Because it did seem uncharacteristic for where he found himself over towards that connector. Camouflage now going to be the focus point for both teams. Optic Gaming have that little bit of extra control, especially with that trade now going their way, but everyone's down low on the map. No one really with any height at the moment until now. Can FaZe Clan just steal this one away from Optic?
Nervy moments. Legend's down to no shields, but he's able to just about get away. That one's gonna sting if he can survive. TriPPPeY gets it though. The 4-kill game. Optic just pushing another kill away from them. Taking all the chips that they can get. SnakeBite's front base. TriPPPeY provides fire. Camouflage into his chest. This could be something to build on.
Finally, took so long for the camo to be grabbed. Both teams reluctant to expose themselves in top middle. But it is TriPPPeY who's eventually brave enough after the damage he was able to lay down, and now it's very important what he's able to do here. But he spots Optic trying to creep their way out of the base. They get 1, and now FaZe can start to surround them.
Here comes the collapse then. SnakeBite gets 1, make it 2. Formal still back base. And Lucid gets another. What was a 2-kill game has now completely flipped the other way. FaZe Clan holding advantage. TriPPPeY's camouflage should be about to dissipate. He's going to pick up a thruster pack to help him in any 1v1 engagements. Help him just around the corner. Help him to maneuver his hitbox just a touch. The grenade lands at the feet. It gets the kill. It's good for 1.
Good timing to get 1. Because it just allowed them to maybe get that little bit of extra pressure just before the camo disappeared. Bounce down to no shield. Renegade also pretty weak. Optic doing something similar to what FaZe did earlier and just holding together, not allowing the push to happen, but FaZe back off. But SnakeBite backs off, chased by Lqgend. It still wins the fight. Pznguin engages onto Renegade. Bound's got down as well. And FaZe find themselves on top by 3.
Formal tries to get away. He was down to no shield. TriPPPeY was there though. Standing in the way, being that roadblock. Bound down to no shield. SnakeBite has got no grenades to clear him out. He's trying to smoke the fox out of the hole. Camouflage up in 8 seconds, but again, players find themselves very far down on the map. 2 kills, it's all that separates us in the mid-game. TriPPPeY settles for a trade. His next camouflage could swing the game, and it's in the chest of Lqgend.
And I'm sure in the chest of Lqgend, the heart beating quite fast now at this point. These are the moments that you live for, though. Being on that main stage with the responsibility in your hands, but he's reluctant to do anything right now. Instead, he's just feeding information from that position because you can stand there for free, but now they know FaZe Clan are all tucked into blue base.
And they surround them. FaZe Clan perhaps waiting to save their nades until they get close. TriPPPeY takes 1 tick of damage. The fight is coming, 2 players down to no shields, but the backstab is there. Lucid goes down. It was 3 for 1. SnakeBite tries to sneak out. He gets taken care of as well. Optic Gaming into the lead.
Excellent push from Optic Gaming. Methodical, well calculated. FaZe Clan could do little about it because they were so concerned about that camo. Big nade though, should take him down, doesn't quite, but Lucid manages to find the headshot into Renegade. Lqgend hoping he can survive. And it looks like he's just about going to do so. No, he gets spotted out!
He goes down, formal response in kind though at 1. Bound gets shut down. Pznguin and SnakeBite get another. 2 kill lead again for FaZe. This one well and truly on a knife's edge. It's teetering ever so slightly towards FaZe, but it's not comfortable. Lucid does a little bit of damage, backs away. Has the cover of a teammate in TriPPPeY, who's firing, whilst also backing up. Nades heading towards the closet. No damage being done. Lucid drops down, that audio cue should be there. Bound throws down a grenade to try and stop the push, but Lucid doesn't give a damn. SnakeBite gets one elsewhere. It's a 4-kill lead.
Excellent timing there from Lucid, showing aggression at the right time. It's an attempt to be sneaky, but that's why you have teammates. Lucid protects him. And they find themselves 5 ahead now through FaZe Clan. SnakeBite with 15 kills, and how many times have we seen the General dragging his team through victory, getting those kills when he needs to. And it's happened a couple of times already this tournament in terms of Slayers. But they don't want to get ahead of themselves. They know there is still a big job to do here at Optic Gaming. They get a couple back in their favor, but FaZe will trade them out.
Sometimes the term IGL is thrown around, and it can mean many things. It means you're making in-game plays, but sometimes you can lead by example by just being the one to get the kills. Having that level head. Camouflage is up. It still remains a 5-kill advantage. Pznguin backs away, and he waits. Lucid now slams it into his chest. And the kills are starting to fall for FaZe Clan. And Lucid with plenty of camo now to play with. A 9-kill lead.
Pznguin taking full advantage of eyes being trained over towards that camo. Sneaks in, grabs 2. Pznguin's got a perfect onto Bound. Lucid's trying to find another. It's 42-31, and FaZe can maybe taste the grand final at this point.
Formal desperately trying to get away. Lucid still with a bit of camo to play with. The plasma pistol good enough for some damage. Pznguin is there to repay the death in kind. Renegade scurries away bottom middle. But as long as they play this one patiently, as long as they settle for trades, FaZe Clan are going to the grand finals.
That being said, we have seen this position time and time again in Halo Infinite. A lead that looks comfortable, a lead that almost looks guaranteed. But how many times has it slipped through the fingers of teams who maybe fall victim of playing a little bit too patient, a little bit too slow, as one more kill goes in favor of Optic Gaming here. Make it another. And now it's suddenly a 9-kill game here as FaZe do get 1 on the board, and that's what's important. Every time that Optic get 1 or 2, you need to find one of your own.
FaZe Clan just chipping away at it. SnakeBite gets taken down by a long-range grenade. Heat-seeking at times. When they spot a player as weak, Formal's going to clear his corners. Pznguin's not going to live long. They're far too experienced to let this player live, but Lucid dives in. Lucid tries to help. Lucid is successful.
Lucid backing up his teammate, and now TriPPPeY gets 1 as well. 4 more kills. 1 more squad wipe for FaZe Clan, and they will be in that grand final. They will finally take down the green wall, and revenge will taste oh so sweet for some of these players.
Not many would have predicted this result. Maybe the expectation was we would see Optic Gaming and FaZe Clan here. But you would not have seen it, you would not have envisioned it going this way. They failed so many times. But knocking on the door now of success. And it feels like they almost can't lose it now. Optic Gaming on the back foot, all turtled up, all putting it in reverse. And the damage is following it. 2 kills, make it 1 more kill. They slide in, and TriPPPeY secures it for his team. It's a grand finals appearance for FaZe Clan. Optic Gaming dumped on their heads.
And FaZe Clan stand tall and they yell right back over their monitors. Was the biggest mistake Optic made getting loud after game 3 because FaZe had even more of a point to prove. And the fingers suddenly started to get pointed at the opposite direction. And for Optic Gaming, they won't get another stab at Shopify Rebellion. They will have to deal with the taste of 3rd place. It'll be FaZe Clan, who maybe, just maybe, after that initial winners final where they were beaten down a little bit by Shopify Rebellion, will have learnt enough to take a stab at the in-form team. But what will matter for FaZe is they have done it. They have taken down their rivals in Optic Gaming. You think of the players on that team, the players that were ousted by their opposition. They weren't considered good enough. They weren't considered part of that God Squad. Well, they get the last laugh here in Charlotte.
Optic Gaming's God Squad. And also houses a demon. They come unstuck, they come undone, they fall short in the elimination finals. The Slayer locked in 50-40. We spoke about FaZe Clan's kills. We talked about their margins that they won Slayers by, winning by 1s and 2s and 3s. This one was by 10. This one was with a punctuation point.
This was the best Slayer that FaZe could have asked for. Any other Slayer, and I might have been saying, I don't know how this one's going to go. Maybe I'm favoring Optic, but the fact it was Aquarius, not only is it the best for FaZe, but it was one of the worst for Optic. And I think when you kind of take away all the pieces, when you rip away the sniper rifles, when you rip away some of those power weapons that Optic are so good with, and you take it down to a little bit more raw gameplay, there's something that FaZe just tap into. That killer instinct that some of these players have. And the clutch aspect that we've seen time and time again this tournament, it came out yet again for FaZe Clan.
Well, when we boiled down Aquarius, FaZe Clan didn't need the weapons. They did need a camouflage or two, let me tell you. That's how you find some success. But now, Dan, the question is, because immediately those players will turn their attentions. They won't be too happy with what they've done because they know Shopify Rebellion are now on the horizon. That's going to be another monkey they have to get off their back.
I think for FaZe Clan, 3rd place would have been a minimum that they would have wanted coming to this tournament. 2nd place would have been, all right, we've stepped up from the previous event. 1st place, well, that would be the dream come true. But Shopify Rebellion, they just look a different class, as FaZe Clan already found out in that winners final. But at the same time, now we go into a best of 7. Everything changes here, and there is still hope for FaZe Clan, but Shopify Rebellion definitely the favorites here.
I think there's something to be said about, like you said, FaZe Clan have finished 3rd here. It's like, okay, we're exactly where we were last event, but now they've made progression. Some of those mistakes that they were making, some of those errors that were leading to series losses and map losses, they've started to tinker them now. They've started to make those changes. They're starting to evolve, and right in time for championship and world championship season.
I mean, the hard work all pays off. The late night VOD review, the scrims, the tireless effort that we've seen from this team that have just been grinding to try and find their way back at the forefront of Halo Infinite. Because you know it's always going to be difficult when you're watching Optic and Shopify Rebellion in that grand final and you are not there. FaZe Clan now, they get the chance, but you don't want to go into this grand final and not give it your all here. So I hope that we see a solid best of 7 from them.
Well, Lottie in the desk, we have done what we were required of and what we were contracted to do. This one's done. Over to you to break it down.